welcome your host, John Coleman.
Good Friday edition, we're going to talk about organizational agility. You can Google what is organizational agility really to see a full article on how I came up with a kind of a definition really for what organizational agility is all about. It's not just about the adaptiveness to a situation. There is a lot more to it, including how leaders act, how authentic people are, how much humanity there is, and so on. So I've been trying to come up with something that maybe could be put into a mnemonic or even put into kind of a mathematical formula, kind of tongue in cheek now, because it's not as simple as that. But I was exploring this and I want to share this with you today, and I'd love to get your reactions to this. But before I get into it, I want to, first of all, hi Parvis, how are you doing? I want to talk about Simon Power's Agile Onion. It's a very popular article. If you just Google Simon Powers Agile Onion, you'll see a diagram that looks like an onion. And a lot of people think that Agile is about tools and practices, but it's really down to values and principles. There, in the Agile Manifesto, there are 4 values and 12 principles. Okay, there were 17 software developers who got together who essentially came up with the Agile Manifesto. So you could be forgiven for thinking it's really a collection of frameworks, strategies, methods as well. But in Simon's article, the point that he's kind of making is that unless there's a mindset shift, it's really going to be very difficult to see the full change, if you like. And I just want to put a little twist on what Simon is doing today by talking about organizational agility. Klaus Leopold also had a one-liner. Agility is not a team sport; it's a company sport, and I really like that. And for me, I think agility is about healthy interactions and moving together in a chosen direction while adapting when necessary. And the prevalence of complex work makes a strong case for organizational agility. And complex work more is often unknown than known. And because of this uncertainty, we need a fresh perspective and diverse thinking to get the job done. So it might be helpful to think of the components of organizational agility as some kind of a formula. And the way I would put it to you is organizational agility is equal to how well you're fostering the environment for agility multiplied by a function of the following. So one of them would be the situation at hand, the optics, what's the perception in terms of agility as opposed to our actual agility. For some people, perception is reality. And what kind of compass are we using? Hat tip to Kevin here in terms of what type of problem are we looking at from a complexity point of view, and what's the right course of action in this situation. Also, the quality of the interactions. How adaptive are we in a human centric way, informed by the customer, by data, by flow, by learning, and a little bit of luck. So it's a nice little mnemonic. Organizational agility is equal to how well we're fostering the environment multiplied by a function of the situation, the optics, or kind of encompass the quality of our interactions, adaptiveness, and a little bit of luck, social for short. But what you'll notice in that formula is that the whole thing, the driving variable actually is not the situation, the optics, the compass, the health of the interactions, not even the adaptiveness or the luck. It's actually how well we're fostering the environment. And how well we're fostering the environment, uh, it's dominated by how executives are driving the situation, but it can also be affected by how well we're acting as well as a team. How are we trying to create that environment? And put very simply for now, I would say it's about focusing on people Are there are there things that are frustrating for people? Are we dealing with those? Often the human side is forgotten, and I've been guilty of looking at flow metrics and all that type of stuff, and that's great. I mean, they're very, very good, but sometimes you're looking at flow metrics for teams, and actually the flow is really outside of their control. Um, they're depending on other teams who've got different priorities and so on. Are we dealing with that? Do we realize that agility is not a team sport? Decluttering of our product or service, decluttering of processes and workflows, organizing for value, which has a whole load of considerations in there, including, are we coordinating for value? Are we designed for value? And are we changing the ecosystem in which decisions get made? Can Sometimes people point the fingers at executives, but actually, what's the ecosystem within which executives are making decisions? And decoupling leadership from the position of leader. So leadership is something that happens everywhere. So for me, organizational agility is a function of how well you're fostering the environment, multiplied by that social dynamic. And what really struck me was how dominant that variable is and how little is being done on that variable. And that's something that I'm going to be focusing on a lot over the next year. That's really where I'm going to be zoning in. And as the less people say, you need support from the top and from the bottom. And I would also say from the side. I've got a comment here on Instagram from Parvis Bakirov. Thank you, Parvis. This is indeed a very critical topic, John. The companies that are not sincere about adopting agility, they absorb narratives without really changing anything in the essence. And that's spot on. That's the way I would put it. If you go for trying to buy agility in a box, like SAFe, for example, you might make some movement in a direction, but it's not really going to be that authentic unless it's really applied by very credible practitioners who are maybe starting with SAFe, but actually using it as something that they can start with. But really, trying to buy agile in a box, trying to buy agility in a box, it's inauthentic. It's not dealing with the mindset piece that Simon was talking about, and it doesn't really foster the environment. It's just trying to mechanize agility like it's a factory. Doesn't declutter the situation. It organizes a little bit for value, but not really. It's just coordination for value, and it doesn't really consider how well we're designed. We're designed for ease of management rather than for value. It doesn't really change the ecosystem in which decisions are made because um, executives still struggle to make decisions. They still overfill the quarter with work and so on. And leadership is still very much bowing at the altar of command and control. So for me, you really need to be authentic about your approach to agility in order to make progress with this. So that's my little nugget today. I wish you all a happy Easter. If anyone has any questions they'd like to submit, you can just comment on social. Thank you so much for tuning in today.